Hi guys, it's Misty from the Book Rat, and it's time for Book Chat. This week we're talking about our Christmas wish list, or end of the year wish list, whichever you prefer. Just basically books that you really want to get your hands on before this year ends. If you want to prepare for next week's chat, we're going to be talking about books that surprised us, so ones we weren't thinking we were going to like and ended up loving. Now here's my list of books that I'm hoping Santa puts in my stocking. Shatter Me by Tahara Mafi. I have heard nothing but good things about this book. When you first see the cover and hear the concept of this book, it's one of those things that seems like, yeah, you probably will read it, but it could just be another in the long line of supernatural YA trendiness. But then every single review and every person that got it at BEA or ALA has been raving about it. So to get that from a debut is especially impressive and means that it is near the top of my wish list as a result. Liar's Moon by Elizabeth C. Bunce. This is the second book. The first book is Star-Crossed, and I just reviewed that a few months ago and really liked it. So I definitely want to see what's going to happen to Digger next and get back into the world because I thought the world was just built really, really well. Dearly Departed by Leah Habel. It's zombies and it's steampunk and it's dystopian and it has this insane cover. What is not to like? On top of that, it has actually been getting good reviews that says it lives up to this cover, so that means I definitely got to get it at some point. Shattered Souls by Mary Lindsay. I like the concept of this book, but I'm not gonna lie, most of the reason that I want this is because of this cover. I'm absolutely enamored of this cover, and it comes out right around Christmas, so it's kind of perfect timing, right? Legend by Marie Lu. This is another one that I've been hearing just great reviews of. It is dystopian, and it's getting a lot of comparisons, as books always do. But it's also getting a lot of people that are just saying that it's a fantastic start to a series and a must-read, so that piques my interest. The Space Between by Brenna Jovanoff. I have already read this. I have already raved about this. My written review is up, and I'll link to that below. But this is definitely one that I want to own and have forever because I loved it. Across the Great Barrier by Patricia C. Reed. This is also a second book. The first one is The 13th Child, and I loved that. It is an sort of alternate reality set in the Old West, and there's magic and a lot of superstition, and I just loved the main character, F. I loved the world that was created and thought it was really interesting and can't wait to see where it's going. Girl of Fire and Thorns by Rae Carson. This is another one that I've heard great reviews of, and I've had a few friends push on me specifically, and I'm pretty sure that they won't rest until I read it, so definitely need to get my hands on that one. Please Ignore Very Deets by A.S. King. I read and loved Dust of 100 Dogs by A.S. King, and I'm currently reading Everybody Sees the Ants, which is also by A.S. King, and loving that. I've heard that Please Ignore Very Deets is her best, and how anything could be the best of these three is pretty impressive, so I have to read that one for sure. A.S. King is just an author to watch for me. I think she's brilliant. Forbidden by Tabitha Suzuma. This is one that's garnered some controversy, which kind of piques my interest even more. I think the subject matter is something that is really difficult and could be really interesting and really thought-provoking. And I don't know that I've seen anything less than a 5-star rating for those who did like it. For those who were just turned off by the subject, of course it's not going to get that, but most people seem to be really just blown away by this book. By These 10 Bones by Claire B. Dunkel. I've read other things by Claire. Always liked them, but sometimes some I've liked a little bit less, just wasn't super enthusiastic about. But when she nails it, she's really fast-paced and hard to beat, and I absolutely love this cover. Now, I could have bought this book before and at a very cheap rate because I have found it for like $2 before. The problem was, it didn't have this cover, and I'm not buying it, and I don't want it unless it has this cover because I love it. I know that's silly, it's the same book inside, but I think the art matters just as much, so I want this one. And lastly, Burn Bright by Marianne Pierres. This one is only released in Australia, which is why I haven't bought it yet, because I definitely would have. It is beautiful. I absolutely adore this cover. I think it's one of my favorites of this year, if not the favorite. I just love it. I've heard really great things, and that it also lives up to this cover. And some of those great things I've heard from people who have either very similar reading tastes to me, or who are harder to impress. So that amps the excitement level for me. The problem is that since it's only released in Australia, that means it is a shitload of money. Books are expensive in Australia, y'all. I don't know how you guys can read out there, because good God. Plus then factor in the shipping, and it's just not going to happen anytime soon. So hopefully US publishers will bring it out here, or in the UK somewhere, and I can order it from Book Depository, but as long as it's just an Aussie book, unfortunately I'm not going to be reading it. So that was my Christmas wish list, and I would be thrilled if Santa left any of these in the stocking. At some point I will be getting my hands on these books, whether it's before the end of the year or not. Want all of them and have high hopes for all of them. Don't forget, if you do your own book chat, you can link it up below or at the linky on thebookrat.com and let us know what you're wishing for. You can also let us know in the comments, of course. And if you're in a giving Thanksgiving mood, you can always go sign up for Random Acts of Kindness over on Book Soulmates and look through someone's book wish list and send them a little surprise present and make someone happy just because. Don't forget, next week is Books That Surprised You, and I'll see you then.